Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and in this video, I'll be sharing my long-term price predictions for this crypto bull cycle. I'll be talking about where we are in the current cycle. I'll also be talking about important signals we need to pay attention to determine the bull market top. And I'll be talking about where we could actually see the bull market top, giving you a price prediction. And I'll be talking about other important indicators and where we could potentially see the next major altcoin season based on previous cycles. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the monthly Bitcoin chart. Each one of these candles is an entire month worth of price action. So this is actually looking at over a decade of Bitcoin's history, almost Bitcoin's entire price history right here. And we can clearly see on this chart that there's multiple bull cycles and bear markets during the Bitcoin halvings. And in fact, the Bitcoin halvings, at least throughout Bitcoin's history up until this point, have basically determined the major bull markets and bear markets, because essentially the Bitcoin halvings restrict the new supply that's coming into the circulating supply of Bitcoin, which basically means there's less sell pressure from the miners following the halvings. And so following the halvings, with that massive reduced sell pressure and increased scarcity, we see massive moves to the upside, also known as bull markets. And we usually see a front run before the halving. In fact, roughly around a year before the halving, we basically see the beginning stage of the bull market. And so throughout Bitcoin's entire price history, we usually have roughly around 3-year bull cycles, from bear market low to bull market top, around 3-year bull markets and 1-year bear markets if we're talking about the larger trends on the larger timeframes. And what's very interesting about all of the previous bear markets in Bitcoin's entire price history, essentially, all of the previous major bear markets have occurred right in the middle of the Bitcoin halvings. And so, for example, the first Bitcoin halving was November 2012, and then we saw the bull market continue all the way up until the end of the next year. And then we saw a 1-year bear market throughout pretty much all of 2014, leading into early 2015. And then we saw the front run into the second halving, which happened around July 2016. And then we saw the continued bull market all the way until the end of 2017. And then we once again saw a 1-year bear market throughout pretty much all of 2018, from the start of 2018 to the end of 2018. And then we saw another front run before the next halving, the third Bitcoin halving, which happened around May 2020. And then we saw the continued bull market following May 2020 over the next year approximately. And then right near the end of 2021, actually, we saw the next major bear market begin, which lasted for roughly around 1 year, pretty much during all of 2022. And then obviously what we saw during 2023 just recently was the front run before the fourth Bitcoin halving, which actually just happened in April this year. And historically speaking, based on Bitcoin's entire price history, we basically always see the bull market continue for roughly around a year, give or take, following the Bitcoin halvings. But it is important to understand that during these larger bull markets, we can see short-term pullbacks and short-term sideways consolidations during the larger bull market. So keep that in mind. Even if we see a short-term dump on a smaller time frame, that does not necessarily mean the larger bull market is completely over. And so simply based on Bitcoin's entire price history, the next major bear market should begin somewhere next year. Most likely around mid to late 2025, we will likely see the beginning of the next major bear market, which once again will likely last for around a year, give or take. And then the next Bitcoin halving, the fifth halving, will occur somewhere in early 2028. And before then, we'll likely see a front run into that halving. But obviously, it's also important to understand that nothing about the future is guaranteed. These are all predictions or speculations. Nothing is actually guaranteed or set in stone. These are just predictions based on what we've seen throughout Bitcoin's price history. And so this chart basically shows where Bitcoin is in this current cycle based on everything that we've seen throughout Bitcoin's history. But if we're taking a look at this chart right here, this is actually known as the Pi Cycle Top Indicator, which is essentially two moving averages that move together near the bull market top. And basically at any major top, usually the bull cycle tops, we see these two moving averages actually cross. So basically this red line right here crosses above the blue line right near the bull market top. And throughout Bitcoin's history, this indicator has been very accurate, because we saw this first crossover, this first signal flash in the Pi cycle top indicator right at around March to April 2013. So that was actually the first major top in that bull cycle, because that was actually a two-wave bull cycle. And after that top signal, we actually saw a major crash over the next couple of months. And then we saw the final bull cycle top indicator for that bull cycle right there occur right near the end of 2013, around December 2013, which was the actual bull cycle top for that bull cycle. And then we saw the bull market top signal flash again right at the end of 2017, in December 2017, which was pretty much the exact bull cycle top for that bull cycle right there. That's basically when we saw these moving averages cross over. And then the next major top signal flashed in the Pi cycle top indicator right around April 2021. So that was actually the first major top in the most recent bull cycle. Well, the previous bull cycle, obviously not the current bull cycle. And now, of course, we did end up actually putting a slightly higher high in the price of Bitcoin in that bull cycle later on near the end of 2021. But that was only just a few $1,000s above that previous high in the bull cycle. And so ultimately, this signal was very accurate. Of course, if you sold at around 65,000 rather than 69,000, you probably still would have done all right, especially if you bought back in the next bear market. And once again, these Pi cycle top indicators, these signals right here, these top signals only flash when these moving averages actually cross over, when this red line right here crosses above the blue line. And if we're taking a look at where they are right now, they still have a way to go before they actually cross over. And so simply based on this indicator, this is suggesting that we still have a decent amount of room left to the upside for this current bull cycle, as this chart also suggests. And so I will be sure to keep you up to date on what's happening in the Pi cycle top indicator as we're potentially getting closer to a top signal flashing here on the channel. So make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at this Bitcoin chart, this is on the monthly time frame again. And if we're taking a look at the monthly Bitcoin RSI, just recently, a couple of months ago, this actually entered into overbought territories for the first time since the previous bull market. But historically speaking, the bull market top signal in the monthly Bitcoin RSI is simply when the RSI crosses above 90, when the RSI basically gets closer towards around 90 to 100, so right near the top of the RSI indicator. That is usually when we see a major top, either a massive top midway through the bull market, like what we saw here midway through the 2013 bull market. We saw that major top in the price of Bitcoin, but obviously every other time we also saw the major bull cycle top come into play when the monthly Bitcoin RSI entered into overbought territories, but actually not just overbought, entered into around 90 to 100 into this region right here. And so simply based on the current monthly Bitcoin RSI, this is also telling us that we technically have more room to the upside. We still have more room to go in the current bull cycle. And also, if we're looking at the monthly Bitcoin RSI, this actually gives us some decent buy signals as well. If we're looking at any time where the monthly Bitcoin RSI is below 50, so in the bottom half of the indicator, usually that occurs close to the bear market bottoms, or at least a major low, like for example, the COVID crash. And so essentially any time where the monthly Bitcoin RSI is below 50, those are usually pretty good buying opportunities to scoop up some cheap Bitcoin. And now, just before talking about my bull market top price prediction for the price of Bitcoin, first, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I usually trade over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if we're taking a quick look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, this is also zoomed out looking at most of Bitcoin's price history. This indicator right here is the super trend indicator. And historically speaking, it has been very accurate at telling us what the larger trend is, especially here on the weekly time frame. Usually the super trend indicator stays green during the bull cycles or the larger bullish trends and stays red during the bear markets or the larger bearish trends. And basically, this indicator consists of a line that slowly moves to the upside as the price moves to the upside. And eventually, when the price breaks below that line, then that indicator actually flips bearish, flips into the red. And as of right now, at the time of recording this video, this super trend indicator on the weekly time frame for the price of Bitcoin, this line right here is currently sitting at around $52,000 per Bitcoin, which basically means if the price of Bitcoin just crashes right now and confirms weekly candle closes below 52,000, then that would actually flash a major bearish reversal signal here on the weekly time frame. And so this is also an indicator to watch out for because obviously there is a possibility that the bull market could be cut short. So in that case, we need to pay attention to other indicators like this super trend indicator. And so effectively, if that bearish signal flashes on this chart, that would be a strong signal telling us that the bull market might be over. But as of right now, we have not seen any bearish reversal signal here on the weekly time frame. And so as of right now, considering on multiple charts and indicators and patterns right now, and based on Bitcoin's entire price history, we're most likely still within a larger bull market, and we most likely still have roughly around a year to go in this bull cycle, once again, simply based on Bitcoin's price history. When we take all of that information into consideration and take a look at this monthly Bitcoin chart right here, looking at some extension levels to potentially predict the bull market top. And now I want to make it clear that this is just a speculation, this is just a prediction, and obviously it very well could be wrong. And in fact, this model at some point in the future will break at some point in the future. But at least for now, as we've seen throughout Bitcoin's history for the last decade, this model right here has been working pretty well at predicting the major bull cycle tops. And if we're taking a look at the first cycle, first of all, this is based on the retracement tool, the Fibonacci retracement tool, but not looking at actual Fibonacci levels, just looking at extension levels. And all of these retracements are done between the previous bull cycle top and bear market bottom based on the monthly candle closes. So all of these are based on the monthly candle closes. And so if we're looking at the first example right here, based on the first major crash or bear market in the price of Bitcoin back in 2011, and if we're looking at a retracement from the bull market top to the bear market bottom, once again based on the monthly candle closes, and measure out a 350% extension, so essentially 3.5 times this area on the chart right here, starting from that bear market bottom, that places this 350% extension at around the next bull market top. And these extensions, by the way, are rounded to the nearest 10%. And now if we're taking a look at the next retracement, once again, from the bull market top to the bear market bottom based on the monthly candle closes, of course, this time around, we need to look at a different extension because we haven't seen the exact same sized move for the next bull market. And so if we're simply taking a look at the previous extension of 350% and multiply that by 0.75, so 75% of 350 to the nearest 10, once again, that gives us 260. And if we're looking at the 260 extension level for this cycle right here, that also comes into play at the next bull market top very accurately, close to 19,000. And then if we're doing the same thing again for the next cycle, measuring from the high to the low, the bull market top to the bear market bottom in this retracement tool right here, based on the monthly candle closes. And then if we once again take the previous extension of 260, multiply that by 0.75, so 75% of 260 rounded to the nearest 10 is 200. And so if we're taking a look at the 200% extension level, that is sitting at around $60,000, which very closely predicted the next bull market top after this cycle right here. And so if we're simply doing the same thing again, repeating what has worked throughout Bitcoin's history, taking a look at the retracement tool from the previous bull market top to the bear market bottom based on the monthly candle closes, And then if we take that 200% extension level from the previous cycle, multiply it by 0.75, so 75% of 200, which is 150%. And so this time around, if we're looking at the 150% extension level for this current cycle, this is predicting a bull market top at roughly around $120,000 per Bitcoin. And now, once again, just a disclaimer, this is just a speculation, a prediction, nothing is guaranteed. And of course, this prediction model is just one of many prediction models. And at some point in the future, given enough time, at some point, this prediction model will break. But simply based on the fact that throughout the last decade, throughout Bitcoin's entire price history, essentially, this model has been working up until now. Once again, it is suggesting a bull market top somewhere around $120,000 per Bitcoin, give or take. And of course, even based on this model right here, we could have a little bit of flexibility. Like, for example, we could top out at, say, 110 or 130 or 140. That's still a possibility, and that could still work based on this model right here. And so essentially from where we are right now in the current price of Bitcoin as of recording this video, it is close to a 2x in the current price of Bitcoin to potentially where the bull market may top out at, simply based on this model right here. And once again, throughout Bitcoin's history, based on previous cycles, we should have roughly around a year to actually get there. And now, what about altcoins? Because obviously this whole video so far I've been talking about Bitcoin, because usually the Bitcoin cycles determine the overall crypto market. Usually if Bitcoin is in a major bull cycle, a lot of crypto follows along with Bitcoin, and vice versa. When Bitcoin is in a bear market, usually the overall crypto market is also in a bear market. And so that is why it's important to pay attention to Bitcoin. Even if you're just interested in altcoins, Bitcoin usually moves the altcoin market as well. But if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the weekly time frame, of course, there's time periods where Bitcoin may be outperforming a lot of the altcoin market, and there's other time periods known as altcoin seasons where a lot of altcoins are massively outperforming Bitcoin. And historically speaking, this happens in the later stages of the bull cycles, usually after the Bitcoin halvings. But of course, we don't have many cycles to work with in the Bitcoin dominance right here, simply based on the fact that altcoins are relatively new compared to Bitcoin. And so essentially the 2017 bull market was really the first major bull market where we had a lot of altcoins in the market. And so from that point onwards, we can kind of look at this chart and get an idea of what we could potentially expect based on this previous cycle at least. Because so far, this cycle has been relatively similar to this previous cycle, basically during the bear market of 2018 and coming up to the Bitcoin halving. Pre-halving, the Bitcoin dominance was trending in the bullish direction, showing Bitcoin holding up better than a lot of altcoins. And now, of course, there's always outliers. There's always going to be some altcoins doing really well, even if the Bitcoin dominance is bullish. But overall, Bitcoin is going to be doing better than most altcoins when the Bitcoin dominance is bullish. And vice versa, when the Bitcoin dominance is bearish, we very easily see some altcoins do 10x, 50x, 100x, even 1000x gains during some of these major altcoin seasons where we see crashes in the Bitcoin dominance. And so once again, these vertical lines right here are the Bitcoin halvings, and pre-halving, we see the Bitcoin dominance more bullish, showing Bitcoin outperforming altcoins in general. But then very close to the halving, just before the halving, and usually just after the halving, we see the Bitcoin dominance kind of chop around sideways, have a lot of choppy sideways price action, look relatively neutral. And then based on this previous cycle, we see the next major altcoin season occur within a year from the halving, usually around a year later. And so, for example, the previous Bitcoin halving, not the fourth halving right here, but the third halving, that occurred in May 2020. And the next major altcoin season started in around early 2021. So basically at the very beginning of the following year. And so simply based on this previous cycle, we could potentially see the next major altcoin season. Of course, we can see short-term altcoin seasons here and there, but the next major altcoin season potentially somewhere around early 2025, around half a year from now. And so in the meantime, once again, the Bitcoin dominance could go a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but overall chop around sideways, look relatively neutral, at least compared to this massive bullish move right here. It's unlikely that we're going to see this exact same move again over the next year. And then once again, perhaps in around 6 months from now, we could potentially begin a major altcoin season where we see massive gains in the altcoin market, once again, simply based on what we've seen in the previous cycles. And as always, nothing is 100% guaranteed. And if you enjoy these type of videos, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, because I will make these videos from time to time if you're interested in longer term prediction videos. And either way, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, once again, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions and short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.